Waiting for it. Here we go. Good evening. Hello, and welcome to episode 99 of the Bully the O-Line podcast. I'm your host, Joe Landy Pavlon. Justin Heber will be on the show tonight, as always. We'll be having a lot of motorsports covered in this episode. Boy, I can't believe we're almost at 100. That's next week. We'll have something special for you then.
Yep.
Daytona, again, NASCAR just doesn't seem like we can go to Daytona and not have chaos. Another first-time winner. 2 races, 2 different first-time NASCAR Cup Series winners at 2 different kinds of track, all at Daytona.
Yep.
We have Michael McDowell, which is still unbelievably crazy that to process that he even won the Daytona 500. And now, this first time, of course, Christopher Bell, we expected that to come.
Yeah.
He has matured as a driver. The Oklahoma native has been just one of the greatest dirt track drivers of all time. It seems like he has translated some of that dirt experience on asphalt.
Yeah.
I believe Christopher Bell is a perfect example of the kind of driver that NASCAR is going to see in the future. He's well-rounded. And why is that? This isn't just a fluke. I know the late race caution that came out for rain really turned the whole race upside down in the final 2 cautions. But then again, that put Christopher Bell in a position. Let's not forget, Christopher Bell, whether the caution came out or not, was already set up to chase Elliott for the win.
Yeah.
And Chase Elliott's road course streak that started in Watkins Glen, New York, summer of 2019 is over.
Yeah. He had a good race, but you'll figure out what happened to him. There was 2 different things that happened to him at the end. But the thing about Christopher Bell, I expected him to get a win, but not at the date. I did not expect a road course. I thought it was going to be like the Bristol dirt track or a short track or a 1.5 miles, something like that. But at a road course, I did not expect him to get his first career win at a road course.
Well, I mean, it's easy to forget the win he had in the Xfinity Series because he really drove like a veteran during his short time competing for a championship on that stage. Yeah. But his Road America win, I think a lot of people overlook or undermine the performance by Bell on that one particular race. Road America is a track where it's easier to make mistakes, and it's so like you see the lap times in qualifying there. They're usually like a 10th or even a second ahead of each other between positions in the top 10 in qualifying because it's so easy to make a mistake in the 4-mile road course.
Yeah,
there's so many spots to make that mistake. Even at the Daytona Road Course, it's hard to make a good qualifying lap. Even though there wasn't qualifying this year, everybody started cold turkey, and that's the next point. This was the first race that NASCAR has used the 2020 qualifying procedures, or should I say quote-unquote qualifying, because they didn't have it. So everybody starts on the same playing field with no practice and no qualifying as if it were to be last year.
Yep.
The first lap's turn on the track in the race weekend was on lap 1, turn 1 of the green flag.
Yeah. Yeah, which I like. For me, road courses should have practice. Like, not like a long practice, just like a 30-minute practice. So, road courses I get, but like at Homestead, they've been there many times, and Homestead is one thing. Homestead, with this package, is not like you're not going to be seeing people like turning into each other. Like, I get like road courses, like, dang, like the road courses, a thing that I would say is like, for the road courses, just have a practice for those. Ovals, like Homestead, you wouldn't need that much of, because the starts are not going to be insane like at a road course.
They might be. We saw that a lot in the lower series. And NASCAR's trying to make this return to normalcy in the race weekend by next year, which is a good sign. I mean, I think they have what it takes to live the COVID life
Yeah.
and manage it. Sure, there'll be a few, sideline casualties here and there, like we saw last year, but it's going to help everybody once these drivers, these teams, these mechanics get on the racetrack on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning before Sunday on race day, and it shows. Even the best on road courses like Michael McDowell, he didn't really intend to start second, but with the Metro qualifying system, it's determined this mathematical whatever formula said, yes, you start second, and McDowell, who's probably turned more laps than half the field at this road course at Daytona in turn 1, made the first mistake. He lost 20 positions in that opening lap.
Yeah, he had issues, and then not just him. Kyle Busch had issues on that first lap also in the 18. Yeah, they both had issues early on, and McDowell recovered. Kyle did not recover.
No. All right, we'll go down the race results. As we mentioned, Christopher Bell from Norman, Oklahoma, first career win. He led 5 laps after starting 12th. Picked up his first career win, and for the first time since 1950, the second ever NASCAR Cup Series season of professional stock car racing, was the first 2 races being won by first-time winners. It had to take almost the entirety of NASCAR's existence for that accomplishment or for that statistic to happen again.
Wow.
Yep, Michael McDowell last week, Christopher Bell this week. Joey Logano, again, we're gonna hold on Logano's discussion in a minute. He was close once again, just like the 500. Led 10 laps, started in the 11th spot, finished second. He was in the battle for the win in the waning stages of the race. Denny Hamlin, who won stage 2 and led 5 laps, started 4th. Hamlin not only finishes 3rd in the race, but he takes the points lead. Kurt Busch, the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion, led 2 laps. He had a wild race for sure. Made some mistakes early on, but rebounded, finished 4th. Actually had one of the faster cars towards the end.
Yeah.
And Brad Keselowski, who wasn't also able to stay away from trouble, managed to come back and finish 5th.
Yeah, he had troubles. He missed chicanes twice, and his car was not handling good at all, and still managed to get a top 5.
That shows you how talented Brad Keselowski really is. Kevin Harvick was probably the cleanest car on the racetrack after the entirety of the race. Finished 6th. In 7th place, AJ Allmendinger's colleague Racing Chevrolet came home 7th after Allmendinger led 2 laps and started 34th. It's his first start in the NASCAR Cup level since Homestead Miami Speedway of 2018. And I forgot to mention this, actually, what I was thinking about earlier, but this is the best finish for colleague racing in NASCAR's Cup Series. 7th place.
Yep, and I actually picked him to win, but 7th is still good for AJ Allmendinger. Really good.
Yeah, he kept up with the pack.
Yep.
Michael McDowell, despite the first lap troubles we mentioned, he finished in the 8th spot. And how about Ryan Preece? Now, Ryan Preece is fighting for a ride. His days might be numbered more likely than not at JGG Doherty Racing. Yep. Manages a 9th place finish. In fact, Preece started 6th in the race. He was in the hunt for a top 10 for most of the second half. I didn't really notice the 37 car, even when the start happened. He went to the back pretty quick. And in the top 10, Alex Bowman, who had a struggling day, managed to finish what was left of a bad handling race car to finish 10th.
Which is good for that 48. He crashed out last week. He was 36 in points. And now he's jumped up to 23rd, so going to Homestead, which he's good on these mile and a half, so he has to start clicking on these top 10s to get up there in the points.
All right, so outside the top 10, a few notables we wrote down here. Daniel Suarez led 2 laps. He finished 16th. Best finisher for Team Trackhouse in 2 races in the NASCAR Cup Series. Suarez started 35th. And Chase Elliott, the car that honestly was the car to beat, the driver to beat. He won stage 1, led 44 laps, more than any other driver yesterday from the pole, and ran into trouble, finishing 21st, the end of his road course winning streak that began in August of 2019.
Yeah. Like, I knew it was going to happen at one point, that there's a race that he's not going to win, because you can't guarantee you're going to have a winning car before the race.
He had the winning. It looked like it was no contest. I mean, AJ Allmendinger, his 2 laps were the first 2 laps led by anyone other than Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
And that was like halfway through stage 2.
Yeah, and also about what Chase Elliott had so many days. Like, the thing with Chase's issues, the first issue he had first was that caution, because it was starting to rain, but he could have rebounded from that. The thing was, his pit crew made this mistake. I don't know what they just lost spots because the crew made a mistake on pit road. He lost a couple spots. Like, oh, he'll rebound, but he ended up spinning. He ended up spinning out after hitting the back of Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. What the?
Yeah, and Chase Elliott, it seemed like if anything were to stop him from winning in this road course, it would be luck. It would be something out of his hands. And that was really the ultimate desire. Something out of Chase Elliott's hands on the racetrack resulted in Chase Elliott not winning this race.
Yeah.
And let's not say that the other teams weren't prepared either. When someone's out there winning all the time, it makes other teams do things differently, work a little harder, put themselves in a position. And teams learn when you lose, and these drivers lose a race, they know what went wrong and how to fix it. And eventually, one of those methods worked.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be Joey Logano. But that's for later. We'll get into Logano in a second here. Let's roll down the finishing order. James Davison from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, part of the famous Davison Racing family. Picked up his career best finish of 23rd, driving for Rick Ware Racing after starting 39th in his debut in 2021.
Yep.
Scott Hecker made his NASCAR Cup Series debut driving for BJ McLeod, starting and finishing in the 28th position, and retired in the 39th spot was Ross Chastain, who started 9th and had a pretty decent going towards his crash.
Yeah, which people are like, oh, he crashed himself. No, it was actually contact with Ryan Blaney that sent the 42 up into the wall, which I could tell that, one, if people are like, oh, you didn't watch the replay. Ryan Blaney had front bumper damage. It's like, I wonder where he got the damage from. Yeah, there was contact, and that sent Ross hard into the wall.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate going for Ross Chastain, because he's, finally in some top-notch equipment in his first full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series, believe it or not. After all those years of being a back mark, he finally gets his break. What about another driver? I forgot to mention one more name, and that was Kyle Larson.
Oh.
I don't know where his speed came from in the second to last restart, but it was there, and Larson almost took the second spot, but he wheel hopped and hit probably one of the wet spots and just hit the tire wall.
Yeah.
Remember, it was raining.
Yeah, and he hit the tire wall in the number 5. Destroyed his chances of getting a top 10. Which that's how Alex Bowman got the highest Hendrick car finish position, was Alex Bowman getting a 10th place.
It's just been a good day gone bad for most of the Hendrick drivers, but we can recall, I know you and I, we were here this time last year after round 2 at Las Vegas talking about how Ryan Blaney almost won and didn't win.
And not just him, Alex Bowman.
But Ryan Blaney specifically, because he was in the front for most of the opening races of last year and only managed to win at Talladega in June. It took him that long, and that was his only win. Now we're seeing this same kind of near-win misfortunes going on with the champion of Joey Logano.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really, interesting.
You know what I find interesting is the chemistry between Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski might have been severed. between last week and this week, the Daytona 500 finish. I think it's safe to say the two drivers, they're veterans. They probably matured and moved on. I think the Daytona 500 was a racing incident, and honestly, it wouldn't make sense for Brad Keselowski to hold this against Joey Logano for the rest of the season. Even though the media is going to tell you that, oh, this is going to cause a rivalry between teammates and will be worth watching as a way to get views on NASCAR and Fox, but...
Well, yeah, NASCAR and Fox, but what happens if NBC's going to bring it up many times?
Oh, you know they will.
Yeah, it's like NBC and the playoffs. They're like addicted to it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the championship standings after two races. Denny Hamlin, who has gone so many years without winning the championship, is now in the lead. He's got 104 points. Two top five finishes put him in this position for sure. Joey Logano behind by 12 points. He has 92 points. In second, Kevin Harvick third with 83. Christopher Bell hops to fourth in the standings with 22 points behind the championship leader, which is his teammate Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott. Those stage points are very valuable. It keeps him fifth in the hunt.
Yeah.
79 points. Sixth place, Michael McDowell, 75 points. Ryan Preece. How about Ryan Preece? He's in the top 10 in points after two races. 74 points. He's 30 behind the championship leader. Kurt Busch is in eighth. The former champion has 39 points to make up from Denny Hamlin. Austin Dillon. Brad Keselowski tied for 9th and 10th with 64 points, 40 behind Denny Hamlin, the championship leader. They'll be back at Homestead Miami Speedway next week for the Dixie Vodka 400. Homestead Miami Speedway. I don't know if I'm going. The odds of me hauling ass there, forget about it. I've got life. You know, we got life. But hey, if you go to Homestead, have fun.
Yeah.
If I make it there, I might have fun.
Like, I'm looking here, if people were wondering, oh, where's Matt DiBenedetto? He's had two struggling races. He's 37th in points. 4 points behind Scott Heckert and Quinn Houff. Yeah, Matt DiBenedetto has not had a good start at all.
He's had a miserable first two races to the season, and Matt DiBenedetto is fighting to keep a top-tier ride in NASCAR's Cup Series. This is a trying moment for him. And have we seen Matt DiBenedetto persevere through adversity? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've seen him handle the adversity like a champion. His time will come. I really, really hope Matt DiBenedetto, and just want to see him win a NASCAR Cup race. It's in my predictions. I had it last year. It almost happened a few times. It just didn't seem to finish out. But then again, he's in a downfall. The first two races were bad.
Yeah.
Now it's reality. We got our first mile and a half next weekend at this weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that later on in the podcast. Now let's talk about something very, very interesting, and that is the NASCAR Xfinity Series race on Daytona's road course. We have seen history be made, and one of the most unforeseen situations in NASCAR's number 2 series occurred on Saturday when Ty Gibbs, yes, 18-year-old grandson of Joe Gibbs, the 3-time winning Super Bowl coach turned NASCAR team owner, championship team owner, Joe Gibbs Racing, Ty Gibbs, in his first ever NASCAR Xfinity Series race on the road course at Daytona, won, beating some of the best NASCAR drivers in his very first start.
Yep.
Ty Gibbs becomes the 6th driver in series history from 1982 present, since the modernization of NASCAR's number 2 series, to win on debut. And of those drivers, the other 5 drivers were former Cup Series veterans at the time of their first Xfinity Series win on debut.
Yeah.
Then called the Busch Series. And in the 80s, of course, Dale Earnhardt, Joe Ruttman. Who are the other drivers? I know Kurt Busch was the last driver to do it. He already won a Cup Series championship 2 years before his first Busch Series win in 06. So, the point I'm trying to make here is that those drivers who won on debut before Ty Gibbs were expected to win. They were already veterans. They've already competed, and some of them won against the best NASCAR stars of their time. Ty Gibbs never even stepped foot in a NASCAR Xfinity Series car until the drop of the green flag on Saturday. This 18-year-old driver who is really supposed to be focused on the ARCA Series took the world by storm. And I don't want you guys to be surprised about his performance. Now, you might be surprised of where he showed this performance on the road course at Daytona. He's a great road course racer.
Yep.
I've seen Ty Gibbs compete in sports cars, Trans Am. He's an avid sim racer. I'm sure a lot of you have interacted with him on social media. He's very easy to interact with. He likes people's retweets about him. All you have to do is tag him. He leaves a like.
Yeah.
This is the kind of driver who isn't even ready for the professional step in becoming a race car driver.
Oh, I found the list is Dale Earnhardt, then Joe Ruttman, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Kurt Busch, and now Ty Gibbs. Yeah, Terry Labonte won his first Busch Series start at Charlotte in 1985. Rudd, Dover 83 was his. Yeah, so Labonte and Rudd are on that list too, and Kurt was the last one to do it.
All those drivers are Hall of Fame material, even Joe Ruttman. And I wholeheartedly agree that Joe Ruttman is probably the greatest NASCAR Cup Series driver to have never won a race.
Yeah.
Statistically wise, his numbers and the amount of years he's competed in, the changes that he, seen in his career showed, but he just never seemed to get the job done. And, of course, the rest of these guys, Ricky Rudd, probably one of the greatest drivers never to win a championship.
Yeah. Terry Labonte, 2-time Cup champ. Dale Earnhardt, 7-time Cup Series champion.
He won the first race of the modern era of the series, Daytona 1982.
Yeah, and you have Kurt Busch, 2004 Nextel Cup champ. Yeah, and also I was about to say about Joe Ruttman, he started racing. His first Cup start was 1963 at Riverside.
So 22 years between his debut in the Cup Series and his first win in the Busch Series.
Yeah.
Joe Ruttman.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother of Indy 500 champion, Troy Ruttman.
Yep.
All right, so present day 2021, Ty Gibbs. Let's talk about Ty Gibbs' performance here. Stage 2. He won stage 2. It looked like, he might be staying out. And that's what I thought at the time. He was staying out on a different strategy. What was his crew chief again? Was it Adam Stevens?
No, Chris Gale.
Oh, Chris Gale. Yeah, Chris Gale is very experienced crew chief. He's worked with Kyle Busch and some of the best Cup Series drivers beforehand.
Yep.
Ty Gibbs is one of the best cars, but you have to drive the car to win.
Yeah.
Ty won stage 2. He went on to lead 14 more laps after starting 15th and made some of the best passes that I've seen in that race for a driver on debut who's never been in one of these cars on a racetrack. Yeah, you could say sim racing and other backgrounds could help you, but who cares? You cannot deny the talent of Ty Gibbs. What we saw on Saturday, whether you're ready or not, is the future generation of NASCAR Cup stars.
Yeah.
We saw the crystal ball go into effect. Because in 2030, something, he might become a veteran. He might become a champion.
Yeah.
Might pick up some Hall of Fame numbers here.
Yeah, but we can't tell this early. But
No.
But he's doing really good in ARCA. Won his first Xfinity start. Like, the thing is, he actually he was battling with one of the best road course racers out there.
That is Austin Cindric.
Yeah.
Who's been in all kinds of cars on road courses all over the globe.
Yep.
Son of Tim Cindric.
Yeah.
Austin Cindric won stage 1. He led the most laps at 29. Started second. Austin Cindric, unlike the winner of the truck race, unable to complete the Daytona sweep, but he sure gave it all, and it didn't come without controversy. We'll discuss that in a moment. Let's look down the results. How about Daniel Hemrick? We know his first win is coming. The way Hemrick performs on road courses, it looked like he could have done better if the cautions lined up in a better direction for that 18 team. Daniel Hemrick led 2 laps and started 5th. He finished 3rd, had a very good run in that Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Supra. 4th place, Brandon Jones. How about another Joe Gibbs driver? Brandon Jones started 39th, second to last on the grid, managed to bring home a top 5 finish. And Jeb Burton, who led 2 laps from the 3rd place spot on the grid, finished 5th. Harrison Burton, the cousin of Jeb Burton, for Joe Gibbs Racing, led 3 laps, started 4th, finished in the 6th spot. In 7th place, how about this? Miguel Paluto, Brazil Porsche GT champion, who last made his start in the series, Watkins Glen, almost 9 years ago, made his return to NASCAR's second highest level, and picked up his first top 10 finish.
Yeah.
His career best of a 7th place finish, driving for Junior Motorsports. Dale Earnhardt Jr. taught Miguel Paluto, and so did the folks at Brandt.
Yeah.
Very impressive job by Miguel Paluto, and we are expected to see him return in that car in other road course races in the calendar. Brandon Brown finished 8th in his own equipment. Very impressive run for the owner-driver. Yep. Justin Haley, who we normally see perform better on road courses, just didn't seem like the race went his way. But a 9th place finish isn't something to complain about either. 10th place, Jeremy Clements, who won the Road America race in 2017 in an upset fashion, brought his number 51 Chevrolet into the top 10. Pole sitter Brett Moffitt failed to lead any laps, but he did manage an 11th place finish. In his debut, sports car driver Chris Wright for Sam Hunt Racing finished in the 18th spot, 1 spot better than his grid position. Greg Galding, who led 1 lap, finished 21st. Leading 1 lap as well, Ryan Sieg finishing in the 27th spot, started and finished 27th. Ryan Sieg ran into trouble on the restart where he actually led at the green flag, overshot the corner, never recovered. AJ Allmendinger, a car that we were more expected to see up front winning this race, was taken out of the running, battling for the stage win. Allmendinger led 4 laps, started in the 6th spot, and had to settle for 35th, limping on the racetrack, beating the damaged vehicle policy clock.
Yeah.
Riley Herbst just doesn't seem to have the luck in his new team, finishing 39th out of the race. He was involved in the collision with AJ Allmendinger, and in her first start, Wisconsin's Natalie Decker, after starting 21st race after an oil leak from an accident on lap number 3.
Yeah.
What was the takeaway? What's the takeaway from Saturday's race here?
For me, Saturday's race, there was parts were good, but sometimes it was at the end, the restarts. People just kept throwing it in the turn 1, like saying they're sending it, and it's not a good idea at a road course. They sent it, and then other people started wrecking. Like at one point, Josh Williams could have saved it. Nope, he blew by the whole corner and destroyed the car into the tire barriers. It's people kept getting crazier on the restarts. also, people were wondering, hey, people have to stop making contact and all that for stages, which, if you don't remember what happened at the end of the first stage, Allmendinger tried blocking Austin Cindric, but he ended up forcing Cindric so low that he came down on him and spun himself into the grass for the stage win.
Yeah, and that eventually took Allmendinger out of the race, and Riley Herbst, an innocent bystander, retired after being part of the crash that was caused by the two front runners. We didn't expect that.
No. But also about Riley Herbst, could have avoided by going up to the wall. Nope, he's like, I'll send it down in the grass. And right as I saw that, I'm like, Riley, you had the whole outside to go. You went in the grass, and that's the worst outcome because the splitters being on pavement's okay, but don't bolt it through the grass. You know you're going to destroy your car through the grass. And that's what ended up taking Riley Herbst out of the race.
Check that. It was a spotter failure for Riley Herbst that resulted in Herbst being involved in that crash.
And like Allmendinger, it's like Allmendinger was blocking. He was really aggressive, trying to block Cindric for a stage, which is more confusing.
Sometimes it's better to surrender for a stage position.
But I guess Allmendinger's like, nope, I'm gonna win the stage. But I guess blocking for a stage win, and AJ said it was even when AJ said it on this radio, it's like my fault because he's the one that was blocking delayed to try to win the stage.
Yeah, it was his fault. But in the end, it is what it is. So
yeah,
you gotta go back to Homestead next week, and that's the third race of the championship. Let's take a look at the standings after two races. It's all Austin Cindric pulling away in the championship. He's a man on a mission now. 24 points already over Harrison Burton.
Yep.
Behind 30 points from the championship leader, Daniel Hemrick. So Joe Gibbs Racing, second and third. How about this? Brandon Brown, fourth place in the standings, 17 points. Mike Snyder, fifth in the standings. He's going to run the full championship once again, this time all races for Richard Childress Racing.
Good run for the two right now.
Yes, number two. Minus 36 points. Jeb Burton is sixth with 65 points, minus 40. Jeremy Clements, seventh with 54 points, minus 51. Ty Gibbs, who won on the second start with the stage 2 points, for now is in the eighth place in the championship standings. He's not going to run for the full title. 50 points, tied with Justin Haley as well, both of them 55 behind the leader. And Brandon Jones, 10th in the standings, 48 points, minus 57 from the championship leader.
Yeah, Brandon Jones did climb up so many spots. He was all the way in the back in the points. He was like 30. He was in the 30s in points. Like, he was way far down the points. Like he was so far behind. I remember just when I put the standings after the Daytona races. Literally, at the time, Brandon Jones was 30th in points. So he climbed from 30th to where is he now? 10th?
Yeah, he's 10th in point.
So he climbed 20 spots in a race.
I'm not sure if Brandon Jones was in the stage paying positions at the end of the stages, but that must have been part of the plan.
Yeah, but that's really good. Brandon Jones, he could still, if he has a decent race at Homestead, I know he's good on mile and a half.
He's very good on those tracks, I've noticed.
Yeah, if he could get a good finish out of it, he'll climb up again in the points. We'll have to see.
Yes. And with that, let's transition to the trucks and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series round 2 of their 22 race campaign of the road course at Daytona. And once again, it's Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes picking up his 5th career win, finally winning more than once in his veteran career as a truck series driver for Thorsport.
Oh, jeez.
Ben Rhodes, who won the Daytona 250 last week, went on to win this race after leading 13 laps from the pole, his 5th career win. And let's not forget, congratulations to Toyota, number 200 on the all-time wins list for Toyota's Tundra in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, dating back to 2004. They picked up 200 wins.
Yep, which is really good for Toyota and them. And we know we're going to get into what happened in this truck race because it was more eventful. Really eventful.
And this tells me that we might see a driver in Ben Rhodes that we've never seen before. This is like a serious contender. I can't really point out the good performances he's had on the road courses, especially since they only ran in Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and Mosport in Ontario as the only truck series race on a road course prior to last year with the pandemic. So, everybody had one race to worry about on the road course. That's not the case this year. We have multiple road courses on the truck series.
Yeah, and also about Ben Rhodes, it's like, I didn't expect him to have a good season because some races, Ben Rhodes just is not relevant. He's irrelevant in most races sometimes. But he's actually showing speed, but can he keep it up? That's the thing. 2 wins early is good to stick here in the playoffs. But can he keep up a good consistency?
And that's the next test for Thorsport, because Thorsport screams consistency. It's in their lyrics as a truck series team. They have 4 trucks every year full time, and they have prepared their factory support from Toyota straight out of a 3-year span with Ford that included a championship, but they could have done better.
Yep.
Thorsport is prepared. They only focus on the truck series, unlike many teams around NASCAR's National Touring Series. So they're all focused, and that really helps. Ben Rhodes isn't focused in racing in the Cup Series in the future, even though I still think he could have a Cup ride with this experience in the Truck Series. But I think we saw a driver prove himself, like Brett Moffitt did a few years back. He belongs. The E-Series champion from 2014 takes checkers at Daytona again for the 2nd week in a row. Now let's look at the other finishing positions. Sheldon Creed, last year's champion and last year's winner of the Daytona Road Course race. Creed led 17 laps from the 5th place starting spot in a truck that was unsponsored, and it really drew a lot of attention.
Yeah, it's like it's GMS. I don't know what it is. Like the 21 had sponsors, the 23, 24, and the 26, but his truck was unsponsored. I've seen this happen before. Brett Moffitt, remember, he was unsponsored for some of races last year and in 2019.
That's why Brett Moffitt was released from the team.
But right now, GMS has some trucks doing good. The person that replaced Moffitt isn't doing that good. Chase Purdy so far is having one of the roughest starts ever.
Yeah, that's for sure. But also, let's not forget Chase Purdy is still new to the truck series entirely.
Yeah, he ran part-time last year in the 5th truck, the 24, but it's first time working with a new crew chief. In the 23 team is different than his 24 team. And it was his first time at the road course at Daytona. The oval at Daytona, he got caught up in accidents. Here, he doesn't have much road course experience.
Yeah. All right, let's go down the running order. So we just covered Sheldon Creed. How about John Hunter Nemechek? After running out of fuel, bringing out a full course caution, and losing a lap, it looked like he was out of the hunt after winning stage 1 and leading 14 laps. John Hunter Nemechek came back in his Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota Tundra to finish in the 3rd spot. He started 4th in the race, but what a roller coaster that driver has been through.
Yeah.
I can't even explain. The fact he's even in the top 10 is a miracle.
Yeah, I just, where as I saw that happen, he's done. He's not going to get up there again. He ends up getting up there again and gets a top 5. Wow, that was just impressive.
Great drive to come back from being a lap down. Todd Gilliland finished in the 4th spot in his Front Row Motorsports Ford. 5th place, Riley Herbst, after leading 1 lap and starting 25th, he brings the David Gilliland Racing Ford into the top 5. Very stable run for Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
Matt Crafton finished 6th, the 3-time champion, started 9th in the race. Derek Kraus, who had a miserable Daytona 250 last week, came back and brought it home to a top 10 finish in the 7th spot for Bill McAnally Racing.
Yeah.
8th place, Kaz Grella, driving on a one-off for Young's Motorsports as a road course ringer, finished 8th. How about this? Timmy Hill in a blank white truck owned by himself.
Yep.
Finished in the 9th spot after starting 34th. Brought it into a top 10 finish.
Wow.
Boy, he was happy. We saw the tweets.
Yeah, like I know people criticize back markers, but Timmy Hill, he's a good driver. It's just he's been always like not in the best equipment. Like I've seen him, like he got a 5th place in his first truck season with his own team at
Martinsville, but there were 2 wrecks on the final lap to put him in that position.
Yeah,
this was off driving.
Yeah, I saw him just creeping up in top 15. Then I saw him passing other trucks to get into 9th place, which is really impressive.
Let's not forget this race started under wet conditions.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it was very hard to stay on the racetrack, and that's what Timmy Hill did. He stayed on the racetrack no matter what, no matter how many positions he lost. He kept that truck on the racetrack with the goal of keeping it preserved for another race, and thus he did very well done for the veteran, who's now an owner driver. Yeah. And in the top 10, making his debut for Thorsport, Christian Eckes brings his Toyota into the top 10 after starting 16th. How about 11th place? Stuart Friesen led 1 lap. The Canadian driver who started 30th managed to finish in the 11th spot. A much better start, even though last year as a whole just never seemed to go his way. Maybe I think he's getting used to the Toyotas and used to this new way of NASCAR.
Yeah, and also, like Friesen has to just get used to it. As Toyota Tundra's he drove a Chevy Silverado before. A Silverado drives different than a Toyota Tundra. Teams are different. And also about no practice and qualifying hurts. So, another thing about it, which is a good thing, that Stuart Friesen getting an 11th place, he's going to try everything to get a top 10 at the next race at Las Vegas on March 5th.
That seems like a track that he's really good at. I don't know if you noticed, but Stuart Friesen is very good on the mile and a halves. Yeah. He's very quiet and keeps the truck in one piece towards the end.
Yeah.
Camden Murphy, who started 37th driving for Joe Nemechek, picked up his career best finish of 13th. Sports car driver Parker Chase, who is a factory Lexus GT3 driver in IMSA, made his NASCAR Truck Series debut driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports and Toyota, finishing 23rd after starting 22nd.
Yeah, he had a good truck, but there was stuff like the truck had issues at one point, but he was running solidly in the top 10 for part of the race, which was just impressive for that 51 truck. But the reason he was back there, speeding penalty, which really hurt him.
And he never recovered. Rafael Asar, who won Stage 2 after leading just 5 laps, had trouble finishing 26th in his GMS Racing Chevrolet. Unfortunately for Rafael Asar, another Stage 2 win turned into a race gone bad. But I like the speed. I like the speed and determination from the driver. So we'll see where this goes heading into Homestead next week.
Homestead, they're not racing.
Not Las Vegas, I meant.
On March 5th, yeah. They have an off week.
Yes, I completely forgot they have an off week. Yeah. Let me see. Some 2 other drivers making their debuts, retiring from the race. Jet Nolan for Nice Motorsports finishing 29th. And Lawless Allen for Rayon Brothers Racing finished 36th out of the race. He started dead last tail end of the field, 40th place. And remember, in trucks and Xfinity, when they don't have practice and qualifying, 40 trucks, 40 cars make the grid in their respective races.
Yeah.
So that's Justin correcting me there. Next race is Las Vegas for a 200-mile race on March 5th for round 3 of 22, their first intermediate oval of the season.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the championship standings, and we have some interesting changes in the positions after 2 races. It is Ben Rhodes, all Ben Rhodes, with 100 points flat, 9 points ahead of John Hunter Nemechek, who's really banked on those stage points. He won stage 1 in the past 2 races, Daytona on the oval and on the road course, putting John Hunter Nemechek with 91 points. Sheldon Creed is third with 87 points, the reigning champion, minus 13 behind the leader. Chandler Smith, 70 points, minus 30. Matt Crafton, the 3-time champion and veteran of the series, 63 points behind 37 from the championship leader. How about rookie Carson Hocevar, 6th place, 55 points in the bag, minus 45 from the leader. Rafael Asar, 7th, 54 points, minus 46. How about Cody Rohrbaugh, 8th place in the championship, 50 points flat, minus 50 from the leader. Johnny Sauter, 9th place, the 2016 champion of the NASCAR Truck Series, minus 53 from the leader. And a 3-way tie for 10th with 45 points each, minus 55 from the championship leader, is Todd Gilliland, Ryan Truex, and Austin Wayne Self.
Yeah, and I'm just looking through, like, these points, like, Chase Purdy, people are wondering where he's at. He's 30th. Tanner Gray has had the worst start to his season. He's currently tied with Dawson Cram for 33rd in points, and he's a point behind Jennifer Jo Cobb. His start of his season is Tanner Gray's start. It's not been a good start for that 15 team. And Haley Deegan, she's 26 in the points, behind Austin Hill. No, oh my geez, there's a 4-way tie for 23rd with David Gilliland, Tyler Ankrum, Austin Hill, and Haley Deegan tied for 23rd.
Well, some of those drivers aren't going to run the full championship anyway, so you're going to see a few names drop to the back, like Grant Enfinger and a few others.
Yeah, Enfinger is 14th, but still ahead of Derek Krause by 2 points. Frieson's up to 16th. Brett Moffitt, he's 17th in points right now. The lowest scored niche truck, which Hocevar and Ryan Truex are. I'm shocked that Carson Hocevar is actually. I know he's a good driver, but I'm shocked that he's ahead of Ryan Truex in points right now. I did not expect that.
Neither did I. And Ryan Truex, he's running for the full championship as well.
Him, Brett, all 3 niche trucks, Moffitt, Hocevar, and Ryan Truex are going for the championship.
Wow.
And also, Carson Hocevar, remember this, Hocevar crashed. Remember Ryan Truex rear-ended Hocevar on pit road? Hocevar still finished the race on the lead lap with all that damage he had, which is impressive. He actually finished. Because his truck was destroyed, and he still finished.
Yep. So, as Justin, you mentioned earlier, Las Vegas, for round 3 of the season, they get their first off week. A lot of teams, especially needing this off week to get back to the shops, make some quick changes, and go out west. They get till March 5th.
Yep. That race will be interesting, but some people will probably say no, because if you don't know, Kyle Busch's first scheduled start is then, so it might be Kyle Busch winning, Kyle Busch might be winning again. It's a good, he might win, possibly. What the heck?
All right, let's move on and talk sports cars, shall we? How about the conclusion of the ASLMS Series Championship? We had some good battles towards the end, but all in all, it seemed like it went to G-Drive Racing. G-Drive Racing, the number 26, RS01 LMP2 that began winning the first 2 races of the 4 Hours of Dubai, race 1 and race 2. While they didn't win any of the two Abu Dhabi 4-hour races this past weekend, it went to JOTA. A second place finish and a fourth place spot with the pole position helped propel them to a 3-point championship winning margin over JOTA. And so congratulations to the drivers, Yifei Ye, Ferdinand Habsburg, and Rene Binder on winning the championship. Remember, the ACO will determine their selection for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the Automobile Club West. I pronounced that correctly, also known as ACO. They are the sanctioning body that runs the 24 Hours of Le Mans in conjunction with the FIA. Let's talk about the two races, though, that happened in Abu Dhabi. The race results from race 1, LMP2, and the overall win went to JOTA Sport number 28, Orca 07. JOTA Sport with Tom Blomqvist and Sean Gelael. And I made a mistake on the Twitter post. No, Stoffel Van Dorn was not in the Abu Dhabi race weekend. He raced at Dubai.
Yeah.
But wasn't in the roster for the Abu Dhabi weekend. So it was just those two drivers. Sean Gelael, the former F2 driver, Tom Blomqvist, the son of a very famous rally driver, Stig Blomqvist. Second place, the eventual championship leading and winning number 26 Aurora SL1 of G-Drive Racing. The 25 G-Drive Racing car, we haven't talked about them too much. They finished in the third spot in that race. The number 25 G-Drive Racing was piloted by Franco Colapinto, who is a very fast driver. He's only 17 years old and won the pole position with some of the most fastest laps that we've seen in the 2 weeks. Rui Andrade from Angola, a driver that you should get used to hearing about. He's pretty good. And, of course, veteran John Falb were in the wheel of that car. So, of course, they were a little bit underperformed with the lack of experience, but I think from what we've seen in both the G-Drive Racing entries, whether or not they run the full WEC, which they probably will, I believe they are, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. What about Phoenix Racing and their LMP2 venture? The typically GT3 program that we've seen through the years, especially in races like the Nürburgring 24 Hours, in cars usually Audis. Phoenix Racing had a pretty good going in the fourth place spot. Drivers such as Kelvin van der Linde, no Nicky Tim, he was in the first two races. Kelvin van der Linde was in the last two races. Simon Schumer and Matthias Kaiser were in the wheel of that car. And fifth place, the brand new Racing Team India, owned by former F1 driver Narain Karthikeyan, who became the first Formula One driver from India, with fellow countryman Arjun Maini and Naveen Rao.
Yeah.
Rounded out the top 5 in class. And the AM Trophy went to Aero Motorsport with Dwight Merriman, Kyle Tilley, and Andreas Lascaratos. In the LMP3 class, it was the number 9 Nielsen Racing machine, Ligier JSP320, and the number 8 Nielsen Racing Ligier JSP320 LMP3s, first and second in race 1 of the Abu Dhabi 4 Hours, with drivers Anthony Wells and Colin Noble behind the wheel of the winning class car. Third place was the number 3 United Autosports Ligier. Fourth place, the number 15 RLR Sport Ligier JSP320. And fifth place in class was the number 63 DKR Engineering Duquesne M30DO8 machine. In the GT3 class, GPX Racing went back-to-back from race 2 and race 3 with drivers Julian Andler, Alain Ferte, and Axel Jeffries. Same lineup that won the Dubai 24 Hours in January.
Yeah.
Ended up winning race 1 at the 4 Hours of Abu Dhabi over the eventual champion. And this was the closest championship amongst the classes in the Asian Le Mans Series. The number 99 Herbert Motorsport Porsche 911 GT3R. So the two Porsches with Porsche factory drivers battled it out in two different teams for that GT3 trophy. The drivers of the Precate Herbert Motorsport Porsche were Ralph Bond and the Renauer twins, Alfred and Robert Renauer.
Yep.
Third place, number 60 Formula Racing Ferrari 488 GT3. We haven't seen too much from the Ferraris in this 4-race championship, but Formula Racing Ferrari, provided by AF Corsa with drivers Nicholas Nielsen and Johnny Larson, they provided a very impressive performance that we saw going into the race for race 1 at Abu Dhabi. Fourth place, just outside the podium, was the number 55 Rinaldi Racing Ferrari 488 GT3. We've seen that car do a lot in the Asian Le Mans Series Championship within the 4 races that was held in 2021. In fifth place, the number 1 Hub Auto Racing Mercedes AMG GT3, the team from Taiwan, in their first year in Mercedes. I keep making close mistakes. I always, for some reason, say Hub Auto Corsa, and then I remember, no, they're not with Ferrari anymore.
It happens, Joseph. Mistakes happen.
Yes. And the AM trophy from race 1 at the Abu Dhabi 4 hours was the number 66 Rinaldi Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 with drivers Manuel Lauk, Patrick Kujala, and Christian Hook. All right, moving on to race 2 and the fourth and final race of the Asian Le Mans Series Championship. That was won once again by JOTA Sport with Tom Blomqvist and Sean Gelael. Now, unlike race 3, they didn't lap the whole field in race 4. In fact, it was a close battle between G-Drive. It was Colapinto in the 25 car chasing down Sean Gelael towards the end, but Sean Gelael kept himself intact and won for JOTA Sport as they swept the Abu Dhabi portion of the Asian Le Mans Series UAE Unique Championship. So Orica's first and second. Third place, the podium position overall. How about number 5, Phoenix Racing? Orca 07 with Kelvin van der Linde doing most of the work. He's been with Phoenix Racing, since he's also an Audi factory driver. I guess the team used it to his advantage. And Simon Trumer, Matthias Kaiser, behind the wheel of that car. That's your overall podium for the final race of the Asian Le Mans Series Championship. Fourth place, the champion of the series by 3 points, the number 26 G-Drive Racing RSO1 with Yifei Ye, Ferdinand Habsburg, and Rene Binder. That car picked up points, 1 point in the championship by winning pole position, which was enough to secure a 3-point margin, winning the title for the 2021 Asian Le Mans Series. And fifth place, once again, was the number 64 Racing Team India. I'm saying Racing Team Netherlands.
I was about to say, I'm like, Lorraine Carthagena is from the Netherlands secretly?
No.
No.
And the AM Trophy, also the championship winning LMP2 AM team, finishing first in their LMP2 AM class, was, of course, the perfect Aero Motorsport Orca 07, the same team that won their class in the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona almost a month ago, with drivers Dwight Merriman, Kyle Tilley, and Andreas Les Caratos. That car was actually provided by JOTA. So well done for them, and I believe they get a ticket to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. In the LMP3 class, it ended up being the champion winning the race in that category. The number 23 United Autosports Ligier JSP320 with drivers Wayne Boyd, Manuel Maldonado, and Rory Penttinen behind the wheel.
Yeah, people thought Manuel Maldonado would have done bad, People said, "Oh, because he's related to Pastor, he's gonna drive that." I'm like, no, that's not always the case. No.
I guess I'll have to keep my camera off, unfortunately, because it just seems to cause some
Yeah.
bad quality.
Yeah, for me, my camera, it's good, like, on my end, but anywhere else, it's like, maybe StreamYard's against cameras tonight. I don't know.
I heard only 2 words he said there. Back to LMP3. They had the largest championship winning margin of the classes. United Autosports finished. They swept the podium in race 2 at Abu Dhabi. And we lost Justin. So I guess I'll just go down the results myself until I bring him back onto the podcast. Second place was the number 3 United Autosports, the JJS P320, and third place was the number 2 United Autosports, the JJS P320, in race 2 of the 4 Hours of Abu Dhabi. A clean sweep, a perfect sweep for the prototype racing powerhouse that is United Autosports. CD Sport, number 33, we haven't seen too much about them nor talked about them as much in the ASLMS Series, finishing 4th in class. And once again, 5th place, the number 63 DKR Engineering Duquesne, D30, M30 DO8. So once again, United Autosports proving that they are class of the field.
Yep.
And the GT class for the second race, or for race 2 of the 4 Hours of Abu Dhabi, won by the number 57 Kessel Racing by Car Guy Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 with Dane Mikael Jensen, Japan driver Takashi Kimura, and French driver Kame Ledogar winning in the GT class. Second place. How about this? This was a very exciting performance to see this car take it towards the front. We haven't seen that much success from McLaren GT3s, as they're not as prevalent on the big stage, but you got to give credit to Inception Racing with Optimum Motorsport, with McLaren 720 SGT3 with drivers Ben Barnicoat, Brendan Ebre, and Ollie Milroy. Just a very great run for the McLaren drivers in a privateer operation. Third place in the GT class, number 55 Rinaldi Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 was the second best Ferrari in the race. That number 55 car was driven by David Rigon, David Perel, and Reno Mastronardi. So very impressive performance by the Ferraris in the second half of the ASLMS Series Championship. It seemed like it was going to be all Porsche, but even though they won the title, it was like Ferrari was the best man in this wedding. Fourth place, the number 97 Oman Racing with TF Sport Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT3, finishing 4th in class. That car was driven by some of the locals, including Ahmed Al-Harti, Jonathan Adam, and Tom Canning. 5th place in class was the champion for 2021, number 99 Herbert Motorsport Porsche 911 GT3R with the Renauer twins, Alfred and Rob Renauer and Ralph Bond. How about that? We didn't see that. We didn't expect that team to win the championship, Justin.
We did not. We did not, because we thought, oh, they're going to get a decent finish. Not going to win, but I didn't expect them to win either.
GPX Racing had a very unfortunate going in the 4th race, which resulted in them finishing 14th in class. and losing the championship by 1.5 points, even though there was a dispute with the stewards post-race about something that went on the racetrack, because I think they had a drive-through penalty or time penalty. It just set them back, and unfortunately, we thought, it was G-Drive Racing, or not G-Drive. GPX Racing was going to win on without any question. It's their home tracks, but I guess sometimes the away team gets the win, and thus Herbert Motorsport did. Congratulations to them, and hey, we might see them in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We might even see GPX Racing in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. There's a selection committee here. It's like college football.
I was about to say G-Drive.
I keep saying G-Drive when trying to talk about GPX Racing, Justin. I know. It's
like the same thing. Last week you said when you wanted to say the 4 hours of Dubai, you said the 4 hours of Bahrain.
Yes, I had. And the AM class winner, the GT3 AM winner of that race, was the number 35 Walkenhorst Motorsport with owner-driver Henry Walkenhorst, Jörg Brewer, and Finnish driver Sami Matten Drogen behind the wheel of that BMW M6 GT3. But it wasn't enough for the championship in GT3 AM. It was a 4-point margin. The pole sitter, even though they retired from the race, that one pole position, the point helped put the number 66 Rinaldi Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 with drivers Christian Hook, Patrick Hujala, and Emmanuel Lauk into the number 1 position, winning the GT3 AM class trophy.
Yep.
So hopefully the ACO, now I don't know how they're going to really make these calls. I haven't looked on Wikipedia because really Wikipedia is the easiest source to look at.
But it's still early on. It's still only February 22nd. Le Mans in June. We'll see, maybe March, April.
I know March, before the pandemic last year, the first version of the 24 Hours of Le Mans Entry List came out. When we were thinking it would be in June, like nothing would go wrong. God, how'd that go?
Yeah.
Let me see. There's an article for 2021, 24 Hours of Le Mans here. There's actually an entry list. Look what I found. So entries for first in the 24 Hours of Le Mans per class. TF Sport is in the list. United Autosports, they're in for first place in the ELMS and in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in their respective class. Select WeatherTech Sports Car Championship champions are allowed in the race as drivers, including Patrick Kelly, who won in the LMP2 championship, and Ryan Hardwick, a GT3 driver that won the title last year. He's invited. ASLMS Series already listed. Look at this. LMP2 and GT. Prick-Cote Herbert Motorsport already allowed to race in the GTM class. So they got to get a GTE car ready.
Yeah.
By June. And G-Drive Racing, a regular attendee of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Also, LMP3 class winners are invited to race LMP2 as well. So United Autosports expect a new entry for them, as they already have pretty much in every Le Mans 24 hours. They also allow invitations for second place in the Asian Le Mans Series in respective classes, third in class and fourth in class. So guess what? Inception Racing with Optimum Motorsport, even though there isn't a McLaren GTE in modern day in the last few years that I'm aware of, they're invited. Michelin Le Mans Cup, Iron Lynx Ferrari invited. Rinaldi Racing Ferrari invited. Third in Asia Le Mans Series. And GPX Racing, yes, they made eligibility to make the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's a committee.
Okay.
There'll be more entries, I'm sure. Different requirements that have to be met, but hey, that batch of requirements for the Asia Le Mans Series is checked off the ACO's box. IMSA last year, Le Mans last year. I can't wait till Sebring.
Yeah. Which is all Sebring for the
12 hours.
Oh yeah, Mobile 1 12 Hours Sebring, which is on March 20th. So less than a month till that happens. And then WC, they start in April at Portimao.
Right, and of course, WC entries they're always in.
Yeah.
And sometimes the ACO will invite uniquely made cars to compete in their own class as an unidentified car. Sometimes they call that UNC. I remember the Delta Wing came in back in 2012, and they weren't in a class, but eventually they were put in with the LMP1 class, and
the Delta.
Of course, the car failed immediately.
Well, the Delta Wing was an interesting car. It's like the 2000. They crashed in the 2016 Rolex 24 at Daytona. The number 8 was stalled, and Andy Mayrick had to crash into it because
that car was up front. I was like pissed off, and then call a safety car.
Yeah, they threw a local yellow at the worst time.
The car sat there and of course, of all cars, the Delta Wing with.
Oh my! It's just like
the wing part of the Delta Wing hit it. I'm like, yep, that's it.
Yep.
Sorry, I just had to watch a little bit of that Panthers game. Florida Panthers, that is. Hey, how's it going, Danny?
Yeah, I'm all good, guys. How's it going, everyone?
Good.
Yep.
We were just talking about eligibility for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The Asian Le Mans Series finished the last 2 days. It's over. The committee has already determined a set number of teams and drivers to make the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which, as of the time of this podcast, scheduled on the 12th and 13th of June.
Yeah, so we've got a long way to go here.
Right, but at least we kind of know a little bit on who can make the race, who can show up.
Oh, absolutely.
By virtue of requirements. Let's talk some two wheels. We're here all day, all night about four wheels, but what about some two wheels? Supercross Orlando Race 2. Round 8 of 17. We're halfway through. Their off week is underway. Cooper Webb picked up where he left off last week in his Red Bull KTM Factory Racing motorbike and won just like he did in Orlando Part 1, winning over KTM teammate Marvin Musquin. Justin Barcia, the gas rider, finished third. Ken Roczen, the points leader, fourth. His points lead cuts down to 6 points. We'll get into that in a minute. Jason Anderson and Husqvarna rounded out the top 5, but Ken Roczen's lack of a podium position really did cost him.
Yeah.
In the standings, in the halfway break, 180 points for Ken Roczen. That's 6 points ahead of Cooper Webb. Cooper Webb closes the gap as he won the last 2 races, swooping Orlando. The off week heading into the Daytona round will definitely be a very interesting bout between these two riders for sure. We have Honda versus KTM.
Yep.
Third place, the Kawasaki rider of reigning champion Eli Tomac with 149 points. The gas rider of Justin Barcia, who won the season opener, 136 points. And Marvin Musquin, the French rider for KTM, has caught up to the top 5 in points. 133 in the bag going into this halfway break, or around 9 of 17 in 2 weeks' time. On the 6th of March, we'll have the 2021 Daytona Supercross round. So be on the lookout for that.
Yep.
As if you're the defending champion, Eli Tomac, I think your best chances of winning this next race, are really high, since you have won there last year.
Yeah, but remember, last year's back half of the season was in a series of races at one facility.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Next up, all right, so we discussed everything else here. Let's move on and talk about what to expect this upcoming weekend. We have new seasons about to begin, but also let's talk some NASCAR first and foremost. We'll have the Cup Series third round of the season at Homestead Miami Speedway for the Dixie Vodka 400. Will I be there? I still don't know. It's probably unfavorable that I will go this year. Round 336, NASCAR's Xfinity Series at Homestead. I believe it's a 300-mile race. Justin said it's 250 according to the website.
But according to NASCAR also, NASCAR and Bob Puckers are saying it's 250. I don't know. It's the only thing we know. It's sponsored by Contender Boats. So if you need to boat, go there and buy a boat.
Contender Boats somewhere in Miami-Dade County. That's round 333 in the Xfinity Series tour. As we mentioned, Truck Series gets their first week off. Yep. We'll see them back at Las Vegas. Supercars, the newly named Repco Supercars Championship, the Australian V8 Supercars season, the touring kart campaign will begin this weekend. Of all places, the famed Mount Panorama circuit, home of the famous Bathurst 1000. This time around is a little different. We have the Mount Panorama 500, 2 sprint races with 250 kilometers, 40 laps each, Saturday and Sunday. Well, Friday and Saturday for us, but Saturday and Sunday for them.
Yep.
Because, I don't know, geography.
Yeah. And time zones are different. They're ahead by many hours.
Yeah. So it's week 1 of what is currently a 12-week schedule. I'm saying currently because of the current times. And rounds 1 and 2 of what is currently a 31-race season. And Formula E, they're probably the single most championship that has the worst problems with the pandemic due to their selection of tracks, mostly being on street circuits in countries that have locked their doors for quite some time. The Durai Prix in Saudi Arabia, rounds 1 and 2 of 8. That is confirmed for this weekend. We'll see Formula E return to the track after, I think it was August.
August, when they had all those Berlin races.
Yes, to make up for all the lost time.
And also, if people were wondering how to watch in the U.S., now it's CBS Sports Network.
That means I have to go downstairs again until I get the better cable box. Just a little more money. It's not a big deal.
Well, for me, TSN since last year broadcast in Canada, which is... Yep, Formula E's returning. It's going to be an interesting race weekend.
So 2 new seasons about to begin, but we'll start where we left off with the NASCAR realm of things. The Cup Series, first intermediate 1.5-mile oval super speedway of the season. At Homestead Miami Speedway, round 3 at 36, 400 miles to be contested on Sunday. Denny Hamlin won the race last year, and his old teammate Tony Stewart won the inaugural race back in 1999. It was a flat track, kind of centered around for IndyCar racing during the height of the Indy Racing League. Ironically, a champion that Tony Stewart was from just 2 years prior to winning his first, winning the first Cup Series race at Homestead.
Yeah.
So here's some stats here. Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle are in the 3 Winners Club. No drivers won more than 3 times in the Cup Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. This is the second year since the renovation of the track that they're racing without the championship trophy on the line.
Yep.
Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards are also former winners of this race. Kyle Busch is very good at Homestead. I'm sure he's marked this one on the calendar, especially with the new crew chief, Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, but the thing is, can he do it with the package? The package, he's been decent 1.5 with the package, but he's not been like before the package. Like 2018, he was dominant at 1.5. With the old package at the 1.5, Kyle Busch was dominant. Now with this new package, it's like he struggles at these 1.5.
Who won the last 1.5 mile race in 2020?
Kyle Busch, but
there you go.
On fuel, Joseph. On fuel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's like he struggles more on these tracks with the package compared to other drivers.
Maybe he's doing better on the 500-mile races all of a sudden, because then again, we don't have as many 500-mile races on the intermediates, especially this year, now that Atlanta lost their 500-mile race.
No, Atlanta still has
the other races. Yeah, they added a race, and that's a 400-mile event.
Yeah, they have 2 Atlanta races.
Yeah, but Texas Motor Speedway has always been Kyle's track. We'll have to see where things go. But if you want to win at Homestead Miami Speedway, you're going to be in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment. Because last year they beat Roush Fenway Racing's number of 7 wins when they scored their 8th win last year with Denny Hamlin. That puts them first on the team wins list. Roush Fenway Racing, 7 wins. Tony Stewart's own team, Stewart Haas Racing, 2 wins, as well as Hendrick Motorsports, 2 victories for them as well. Manufacturer wins. Remember Ford used to sponsor the championship weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Well, if you're a Ford driver, be ready for this one because they lead in the manufacturer wins count with 8 wins.
Oh, man.
Toyota, 6 wins. Chevrolet, 5 wins in the 2 non-existing manufacturers in the sport of NASCAR. Pontiac and Dodge, 3 wins total, 2 from the old GM brand and 1 from Dodge. That was Bill Elliott in 2001. In fact, that was Bill Elliott's first win since being an owner driver.
Yeah, he went 226 races without a win there.
So it's the first mile and a half of the season. What are the expectations for these drivers? We had a restrictor plate track, a super speedway, then a road course, and now we're in a mile and a half speedway.
Yeah. For me, I expect a decent race, but I don't want a crazy race. I feel like it's going to be quite normal of a race,
but quite exciting also.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be action on restarts, but I feel like after a restart, it's just gonna be it's gonna mellow out after a while. Yeah, it's gonna be like an average race. Just it's gonna calm down after a while. Yeah.
The way how I see it is like this. My prediction: these restarts are really good. We all know these restarts get crazy on mile and a half in general when it comes to racing on a mile and a half, like Homestead. So I feel the biggest restart will probably happen, or should I say the craziest restart will probably happen on the last few laps of the race. Let's say with 20 to go or 18 to go, depending if a caution comes out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. For sure. Also, to consistency, especially on Homestead Miami Speedway, it's a very consistent circuit with really replicates the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. So say we were back maybe 15 years ago, we'd be comparing this track to the old version of Atlanta Motor Speedway before it became a D-shaped oval. But those drivers who ran that old Atlanta are now no longer in the sport of NASCAR. So really, it's a one-time track. And you can run multiple grooves here. This is what I noticed.
Yeah.
Which makes the racing very fluid and exciting to watch. So let's make our predictions. Who will take the checker flag after 400 miles on Sunday?
I would say I really like what we're seeing with these first-time winners. Michael McDowell winning the 500, Christopher Bell winning the road course. Will we see Tyler Reddick win at Homestead? He's won here in Xfinity twice before, so he knows his way around this track. And I'm going to have to go with Tyler Reddick.
That was my pick last year, but I have something different. Justin, let me hear your prediction before I give it up.
Okay. My pick, this driver. He's ran 20 races at Homestead. He's been here many times. He has 1 win, 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s, 19 top 20s. He has his average finish, the second highest average finish of 7.4. He drives a Stewart-Haas Ford Mustang, driver of the number 4. Kevin Harvick is going to win at Homestead.
Ooh.
Kevin Harvick. This is a Kevin Harvick track.
You sure?
I'm not sure about this year.
He has won the championship at this track before, so I get your reasoning, Justin.
Hey Joseph, who are you picking?
He joined the 3 Winners Club last year. This guy has won twice on this, all 3 races on this version of the track, and that is Denny Hamlin. He's the points leader. He took the points lead after Sunday's race at the road course in Daytona. This is Denny Hamlin's time to shine. If he's going to win a championship, it's now. This man is so much mature. He's ready to succeed. He's done everything successful in a Hall of Fame worthy career. He's now a team owner. Let's get to that championship for. It's going to start at Homestead.
We'll have to see. It just depends. Okay.
All right. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Homestead Miami Speedway. I guess it's 250 miles from what Justin said. It's the third of 33 races in the tour. Last year, the race length was shortened because of the time of the year. It was June, and everybody didn't even know what the future would look like then in terms of the NASCAR calendar. So NASCAR had to make up 2 dates. Harrison Burton won on Saturday. Chase Briscoe won on Sunday. In the very first race with the triangular format that was somewhat similar to NASCAR Speedway, won by Dale Jarrett in 1995, the first running of the race at what was then called the Miami-Dade Sports Complex. "27 years later, Joe Nemechek is the winningest driver with 3 wins at Homestead Miami Speedway, the track that tragically took the life of his brother, John Nemechek.
Yeah.
In 1997, after a crash in the Craftsman truck race, thus naming his son John Hunter Nemechek, who we see racing in the trucks as well today. Joe Nemechek, most emotional wins, no matter what series he drove for, were at Homestead Miami Speedway, and a lot of fans can remember, especially locally down here, how much it meant to Joe Nemechek when he won his first race, just like many months after the passing of his brother. How about some other names that have won here? These drivers have won twice at Homestead. It's a great list of Hall of Fame names. Jeff Burton, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Matt Kenseth, and of course recently Tyler Reddick. Team wins. These teams all tied with 3 wins. Joe Gibbs Racing, Nemco Motorsports, Roush Fenway Racing, Team Penske, and Richard Childress Racing. And then these teams with 2 wins include Junior Motorsports and Stewart-Haas Racing with Biaggi Denbesti.
Yeah.
And manufacturer wins, best to drive a Chevy at this track. You're going to win. They won 11 times. Fords have won here 8 times, Toyota 5 times, and for the former manufacturers in NASCAR, Dodge twice, Pontiac once.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have the entry list out, which do affect the context of the series.
I just don't know how many entries would be anyway. It's probably going to be released. If it's not released on Monday, they release it on Tuesdays usually. Yeah, it's still not released because it only says race. So they didn't release it yet. Turn it off. Okay.
Yeah, we apologize. We're going to keep the cameras off for the rest of the podcast. Just the quality has not been good.
I guess StreamYard's against our cameras tonight.
I guess so.
But but I feel like if you're driving, hey Joseph, you said if you're driving a Chevy, that driving a Chevy is a good thing. I already have my pick.
What do you have?
Which is
This driver, he has only one start. I know one start can't determine things, but he finished 9th. He's full-time, driving the number 10. Jed Byrne is going to win at Homestead.
Jeb Burton winning at Homestead. He has never won in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And how many times has Jeb Burton finished in the top 5 in the series? 8 times. He's led 57 laps. He's finished in the top 10. 17 times. It's about time he gets that first win. Patrick Hornquist just dropped the gloves with Klingberg.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know this isn't World Hockey Media, but it's sure interesting when you see someone who plays on the first line drop the gloves when it's a tie game in the second period. The Florida Panthers and Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, back to reality.
Okay.
Where was I going? Yeah, Jeb Burton. I was talking about Jeb Burton. I have a driver who's going to win this race. He has done about everything in NASCAR's top national divisions but win a race, and it's about time. And I think he's going to go on and possibly win this championship. Daniel Hemrick is going to win at Homestead Miami Speedway, and it will be a popular victory.
You know what? I'm going to have to disagree with you and go with JL Motorsports driver Justin Allgaier in the number 7. He hasn't won here at Homestead before. I think he has an opportunity to get his first win here.
Yeah, it sounds all good to me. Those are great predictions, and knowing the way these guys race, we're going to be in for quite a show on Saturday. All right, now that we got NASCAR out of the way, let's talk about some of the expectations. We have a preview of the 2021 Repco Australian V8 Supercars Championship as the new season is about to begin. And I tell you what, if you're new to watching supercars and you don't have any work on the weekends, take the time and stay up late for these races. Because I tell you what, I myself am a major fan of supercars myself, and coming from a NASCAR fan who slowly but surely warmed up to Formula One and all kinds of motorsports, endurance racing, you name it, supercars just fit right in to my interest level. Yeah, the first 2 races of the season will have the Mount Panorama 500 to kick off the championship for the Supercars season in 2021. And boy, I think everyone will be excited to see these guys back on the racetrack. In case you want to watch, Race 1 and Race 2 both start at 11 p.m. Eastern Time for Americans on Friday and Saturday night. So it's not going to be that bad. The race is estimated to end by 12:50 in the morning. 40 laps each. But what is the Mount Panorama 500, and how come there is a race in Bathurst despite the Bathurst 1000 already on the schedule? Why go to Mount Panorama twice? Well, track in New South Wales has been home to some openers in the past. Very vaguely in the other seasons of the Australian Touring Car Championship, we've seen the Mount Panorama 500, but not since 1996 when John Bowe took the win, and Ian Giegan, who won the first race. In fact, he had 3 wins in the Mount Panorama 500, the sub-version of the Bathurst 1000. John Bowe, who is currently battling cancer, which we wish him all the best, won the race twice, including 95 and 96. They haven't had a race in Mount Panorama other than the 1000 since 96. John Bowe drove for Dick Johnson Racing, the only team that have multiple wins in this event. which means Ford lead this category with ease, 5 over Holden with 1. Speaking of Holden, you know how sad it is to watch Holden Commodores with hardly any logos of the Holden emblem.
Yeah, it's saddening. It's
really kicking in, man.
Yeah. And speaking of, we don't have Scott McLaughlin around to defend the championship this year.
Nope.
Because he has moved to IndyCar as a rookie.
Yep.
That means we'll get a new champion possibly. And my call is going bad, guys. I don't know if you guys hear me, but I don't want to stay on here too long. My quality is just being uncooperative. So.
And well.
But let's take a look at the teams. Let's look at the roster from what's expected. There's only one Enduro race, so there's no Enduro Cup again. It's just the Bathurst 1000 where you see co-drivers.
I'm looking at the teams. I have them here. The first entry for in the Fords, you had Blanchard Racing Team with Tim Slade's number 3. Then Tickford Racing with 3 cars with the 5 of Jack LeBrock, the 6 of Cameron Waters, and the 44 of James Courtney. Then you got Kelly Grove Racing with Andre Heimgartner and David Reynolds. And then you got Dick Johnson Racing with Anton DePasquale is running a number 100 for promotional reasons this week for the first round, and Will Davison in the 17. Then all the Holdens, Walkinshaw and Andretti United with Bryce Fullwood and Chaz Mostert. Brad Jones Racing with 4 entries with Jack Smith, Nick Percat, Todd Hazelwood, and Macaulay Jones. Then we got Erebus Motorsport with Will Brown and Brody Kostecki. Team 18 has Mark Winterbottom, Scott Pye. Team Sydney has Fabian Coulthard and Gary Jacobson. Then Matt Stone Racing with Jake Kostecki and Zane Goddard. And then the final team, 888 Engineering with Jamie Whincup and Shane Van Giesbergen. Yeah.
Well, I know who's winning the championship this year. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the champion that I'm hoping to see chasing 8. Sorry. I have Shane Van Giesbergen going for it. This is his time to shine. He's been in this position before and has succeeded. Yeah. SVG from Auckland, New Zealand. Is a very well-rounded driver, even though he won the championship just once in 2016. He's got 40 race wins. Finally picked up that Bathurst 1000 last year, and I just can't wait to see how SVG is going to perform without his fellow countryman in Scott McLaughlin as the Kiwi. McLaughlin is now in the States competing on an IndyCar full-time basis.
Yeah.
Yes, I will also have to agree. I would also have to say the same thing with you, Joseph. I'm going with Shane Van Gisbergen this year. Besides the fact that Jamie Whincup is going to be retiring this year. Let's not forget that part.
Yeah.
This is Whincup's final year as a full-time driver for 888 Racing, and he will be going into the management sector of the team.
Imagine Jamie Whincup going out on his style and winning his 8th championship. Something that a driver we were hoping Jimmy Johnson would do. It just didn't seem like it was worth. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Jamie Whincup might have a better running because last year he was catching up to McLaughlin in points. Remember, Scott McLaughlin didn't clinch the championship till the penultimate race of last year prior to the Bathurst 1000, which was a good thing because that took all worries away and everyone could just focus on the 1000. But what about some of the Ford teams? I know Cam Waters is a great qualifier. We've seen him qualify on pole for the Bathurst 1000.
Yep.
Throw in another name. Andre Heimgartner has really stepped up his game, and now Kelly Grove Racing, as it's now called, new driver David Reynolds, and he's the 2017 Bathurst 1000 champion. Has brought over Luke Yulden, his co-driver who won the 1000 from Yerbis over to the Kelly Grove Racing team. So now they go from Holden to Ford. Yerbis gets a new driver, Brody Kostecki, 99, will drive. So I think we've seen some differences here. What about the Davisons here? Will Davison was somewhat struggling. He's a veteran in the series, no question. But can the driver from the famous racing family end up in a position to win with DJR and Shell V-Power Racing Ford? Anton DePasquale. Let's throw him in the mix. Well, let's talk about some race predictions. We can go on and on about the season all we want, which is what you'll see in other podcasts, sure, but who will end up picking up this first win? So there are 2 races. Friday night for us, Saturday for them. Saturday night for us, Sunday for them.
Yep.
11 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Eastern Time for both races, 40 laps each. Race 1 will go to... I have my prediction. I'll just throw it away.
Okay.
He's won the Bathurst 1000 4 times, and he seems to be up towards the front when it counts early in the race. His name is Jamie Wincup, and at least at this time, he doesn't have to worry about the other 500 kilometers, because it seems like since his last Bathurst 1000 win in 2012, he knows how to throw it away. But this is a 500 kilometer deal.
Yeah.
Jamie Wincup.
Okay. Okay, my pick for race 1, this driver, he's been so good. He's finished 3rd in the points, 40 race wins in his career. Shane Van Geesbergen is going to win race 1 at Bathurst.
Yeah, SVG for race number 1. So we got 888 Race Engineering Holden Red Bull Ampol team. Yes, it's now Ampol. I guess because the Holden factory doesn't really exist anymore. So they just have to rebrand it. All right, Danny, let me see who you got here. I know you have some preference.
I know that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to win race 1 easily, but what about Fabian Coulthard with DJR Racing? Since Team Penske is not a part of that program anymore, I'm going to have to go with Fabian Coulthard for race 2.
Okay.
What about you, Joseph?
Oh, race 2?
Yeah.
I had Jamie Wincup.
Okay.
Jamie would win.
For me, race 2, this is an interesting pick. This driver, he's in a Ford. He has 2 victories in his career in 156 races, but he did start on the pole at Bathurst in the Bathurst 1000. My pick.
What year?
In 2020, he started on the pole. My pick, driver in the number 6, Cam Waters is going to win race 2. Yeah.
Cam Waters.
That's
I think if J-Dub's going to win race 1, I got to go with the man in race 2. The Kiwi Shane Van Geesbergen.
My God.
Okay, you guys.
I knew I had to pull one on you there. I had to.
You know what? I'm going to let it slide and get you another day.
Yeah, when the IndyCar season starts.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let me see your race 2. Danny, I know you put your race 2 predictions. What do you got?
I already told you race 1 and race 2.
Oh, Shane Geesbergen? Okay. I have J Dub and SVG for the win. Just for Holden. I want to see
race 2, I told you I have Fabian Coulthard. So.
Oh, yeah, Fabian Coulthard. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, Fabian Coulthard is also he's driving for new team this time around. Yes, Team Sydney and the Holden with Gary Jacobson, and he's a pretty experienced driver. They seem to be like a good contenders for those like outer podium spots, maybe in the top 10. All right, before we get off, because I'm getting hungry. A man's got to eat. Let's get started with the Formula E Championship. Now it's considered a world championship by the FIA. So get ready, get used to hearing the FIA Formula E World Championship for the new season, and the FIA has finally recognized this as a world championship, just like the World Rally Cross Championship, the World Rally Championship, the World Endurance Championship, and of course the Formula One World Championship. And we have all kinds of cars, teams just joining in for this. Some of the most experienced world-class drivers will be in the field in these electric mobiles. Let's start off with the schedule. Now, they're really going to be affected by the pandemic because of the prevalence in street circuits. But as of the time of this podcast, at the time of the video, it's February 22nd or 22 February 2021. This weekend, we do have the first 2 races confirmed at the Diriyah E-Prix in Saudi Arabia at the Riyadh Street Circuit on the 26th and 27th of February for the first 2 rounds of what is currently an 8-race championship. But what happens afterwards? Nothing until April 10th.
Yeah. Which
is the Rome E-Prix. So I guess we hopefully time will be on our side, which usually isn't the case these days. And a street circuit in Rome on the 10th of April. They have the Valencia E-Prix in Spain, but this is on a closed circuit. So luckily, I think there'll be some hope on that. The 24th of April at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, a circuit that we've seen used as a makeup track for the MotoGP last year. Actually, the same circuit that will host the W Series testing.
Huh.
Actually, that same month. The Monaco E-Prix will be ran in conjunction with, of course, the Monaco Grand Prix at the Monaco circuit in Monte Carlo, the famous track on May 8th. That doesn't seem right. May 8th. Hey, maybe they have a different schedule because, hey, Monte Carlo makes their own decisions.
What, May 8th? It says the Monaco E-Prix, but the F1 race is on May 8th?
No.
Oh.
That's on Memorial Day weekend, I assume.
Yeah, I was about to say, May 8th is not Memorial Day. Definitely.
I'm just going off Wikipedia. Please don't.
No, I'm looking
on me, man.
No, I saw Wikipedia. It's May 8th for that, but for F1, it's on May 23rd.
Oh. Okay, so I just will assume that it's either on that one day or the other. Oh, on the 22nd of May, the Marrakesh E-Prix in Morocco.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's why. Maybe Morocco say, hey, we can host on this date for sure, but only on May 22nd, so come now. And remember, the Marrakesh E-Prix is also on a street circuit, and you have to understand how tough it's been for street circuits during the pandemic. And lastly, the San Diego E-Prix, which was actually called off due to civil unrest in April before the pandemic said no to everything from last year, is scheduled to run on the 5th and 6th of June in 2021.
Yeah.
As round 7 and 8 of what is currently an 8-race championship. But we still have the Berlin E-Prix, which actually was responsible for helping finish the season last year at an airport circuit in Tempelhof.
Yep.
The London E-Prix, which, well, I'm looking at the country that I wrote a paper and a half about during the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them having a race anytime soon. not between now and the 6th of June. Listen, I think that Boris Johnson said the 21st. Prime Minister, I have to double check, but everyone's talking about, hey, the 21st of June is coming. Get ready. Like it's, like when school goes out for summer and everybody gets excited, that kind of anticipation. I saw that on Twitter this morning. Sanya Ypres in Haiting Bay Circuit, located in the Chinese island of Hainan, is also slated to hold date this year. The Seoul Ypres at the Seoul Street Circuit is also on the provisional list of races this year. The Mexico City Ypres at the Hermanos Rodriguez, that's a closed circuit, which is good. That's also in the air, and I don't know how it's going to happen when the New York City Ypres is still on the table for the Brooklyn Street Circuit. I would love to see the New York Ypres again. That was one of my favorite races in 2019 for the Formula E Championship. Those were the closing dates of Formula E last year, or 2 years ago. But let's take a look at the drivers. Of course, last year's champion, Antonio Felix da Costa, will return to compete for his championship defense with DS Techeetah and the DS E10's FE20 powertrain with teammate Jean-Eric Vernet. What about some other drivers here? What about Max Gunther for BMW I Andretti Motorsport? We've seen a lot from the BMW Andretti team last year. They weren't unable to stay in the hunt, which took them out, especially the lost states with the pandemic and all that. But what about Alexander Sims, Medina Racing? Throw in the Porsche Formula E team, Andre Latour, Pascal Wehrlein.
Yeah.
There's so many names here that I can look at, but what about this driver, Nick Cassidy?
Yeah.
We were talking about Kiwis just a few moments ago in Supercars. What about Nick Cassidy? He could be the next Formula One driver from New Zealand.
Yeah.
He's going to be racing with Envision Virgin Racing and the Audi powertrain with teammate Robin Fringe. And I think Robin Fringe is a very underrated driver from what I've seen out of him. Just don't be surprised if he ends up winning one of these Ypres. Okay, we're going to make some predictions here because I'm getting really hungry and tired.
Yeah.
Race 1 will go to whom?
I got my pick. My pick, this driver, he's raced in Formula E. In Formula E, he has 5 wins, 4 poles, 3 fast laps, and he has a championship. Driver of the 13, Antonio Felix da Costa is going to win race 1.
Well, if we go by the last events that happened here, I think race 1, while Antonio Felix da Costa might have the momentum of a championship from last year, I wouldn't be surprised if someone has learned a little bit extra in the offseason on how to stop the reigning champion. And it might just be his teammate. Jean-Eric Vergne might be the one who can get in the way. In fact, he was a little bit tough to pass, even though AFDC was battling for the title. It just didn't look like Jean-Eric Vergne was going to let the driver play number 1 on the team here. So I'm going to go with Jean-Eric Vergne. Now, race 2, I have an interesting pick, but I'm going to let you go first there, Justin.
Okay, my pick for race 2, this driver, he's raced in Formula E in his debut in 2018-19 season. He had 24 starts, 1 win, 4 podiums, 2 poles, the fastest lap. He finished second in the 2019-2020 championship. The driver of the number 5 for Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E team, Stoffel Van Dorn will win race 2.
Yeah, Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yep.
He's a great pick. Probably one of the best Belgian drivers of recent memory. But I concur. This driver here, I haven't really seen him too much in recent memory. He didn't race after Formula 2 in 2019 was finished, but he was fast. He's going to drive for Dragon/Penske Autosport, an American team with a Penske EV5. You're going to be surprised by this. Sergio Sete Câmara from Brazil. Take this win for race 2 from Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Sergio Sete Câmara will be on top of the podium, and it's going to be a popular win for sure. So I think this is the end of the podcast. You have any last thoughts here, Justin?
Just enjoy all the races this weekend, all the races that are going on.
Yep. Have a good time. Enjoy this race weekend. We got some new action in the motorsports world, and we'll be covering you throughout the entirety of the weekend. So check us out on Twitter at WRM Media Group and at Instagram, our Instagram at World Racing Media. And episode 100 is coming. I cannot believe it. Time is flying. Next week, we're going to have something special for you. I'm going to make sure we're going to have something good. A treat for you guys that have been sticking with us and watching this channel grow, flourish. It's been a delightful journey, and I'm very excited for next week's 100th episode of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. For my partners, Danny Garrett 48, aka Danny Jarrett, Daniel Ford, and Justin Hebert. I am Joe Landy Pavlon signing off. Have a good night.